Let's start with that. What is OB? Just repeat once again. So it will be better for everyone to know again.
Okay, so my own definition of OBE is when your consciousness expands and you are literally anywhere except the 3D physical earth life. If you are not in the 3D physical earth life, in my definition, you are out of body, regardless of how far out of body you are. That could be a little bit into the etheric, that could be a little bit more into the astral or galactic space, or it could be further. Okay.
And what is actually the galactic space?
All life on all other planets. The ET.
The whole.
Sure, what we call the ETs. So you're going into galactic space, not necessarily our galaxy, but any of the galaxies. That's the astral proper. That's the real astral. That's the real-time astral. That is the astral consensus space. But there is a personal private sector in there for you that we would normally call dreaming here in our reality. But it's very, very real, equally as real. It's just an area that you have created for yourself and yourself alone. It's a space of creativity.
So what happens when we dream? Like, why do we dream actually? The visuals we see and everything, like when we are about to wake up, like for me, I could see that, okay, I know that I am watching a dream and I could feel that something is happening. Like I know I am lying down. It's like a lucid one, which I say that. So what happens at that time and why do we actually dream?
Mm. Because it's not actually possible to be anything that you're not. And you will always be all of who you actually are. And everywhere you actually are. And although we differentiate between the spaces of what we like to call reality, which is just the 3D physical earth life, and what we like to call dream, which in most people's mind would be everything else, the connotation for most people is that dream isn't real.
But it is.
It is very real, of course. And here we are dreaming as well. If there is a visual picture around you, you're dreaming. The visual field itself is a dream, and this is one level of the dream. And that is just another level of the dream. Learn to use the terms reality and dream as equals.
Okay. That's actually hard to process because for people, dream is something which the subconscious mind produces. And yeah, so when you say that it is a reality, it actually increases the horizon of our thinking.
Your personal subconscious mind does not create that. The subconscious creates that. So Swara doesn't have something tinier inside herself called a subconscious. Swara has a larger field called the subconscious in which the conscious Swara is. So you need to turn your perception inside out to see reality as it is. So long as we're still in the 3D perception where there are a lot of delineations and spaces between things, then we're not seeing reality as it is. We're seeing the illusion. We're seeing the game that we're playing.
Okay, so what would you say that while like the dream one only, that the visuals that it produces, like for example, it produces that me and my father are on a drone like something like that. Why does it produces like weird things? That does that really happens? Like sometimes I just think that what the hell am I even seeing? Like it doesn't make any sense in like what should I take from it? Like it actually doesn't make any sense. Many times it happens that the dreams aren't like normal. So what happens that time?
Do you really want to go into levels of the dream, or do you want to go into OBE?
1 second.
Yes.
Okay, so back to back to wherever we are. So what happens during that time? The dreams, the weird dreams that we see. Most of the times, many people complains that they see the dreams are like really weird.
Okay, so you're familiar with meditation, and you probably remember when you very first started meditating that there was thoughts to get through before you could get into any semblance of a state of meditation, meaning a calm, clear, still mind. And it's the same thing if we're going to take that concept into our dreaming. We're going to have to get through our thinking, our thought barrier, when it's our own personal mind and thoughts that are activated. And that's the kind of stuff that you're talking about. But once you get through that, you'll get into the dream itself. The dream itself is a conversation between the subconscious, which is larger than Swara. Okay, Swara's personal conscious awareness is a smaller point within that larger point. And we would call it higher self, maybe. A lot of people do call that higher self. So, and now it's a conversation, a communication between the higher self and the ground level self, you.
So what happens during like I got it that the mind projects something like whatever we are thinking that is projected at first in our dreams. So how to get out, like if you want to actually see a dream that going out of the process and just see that what your subconscious talks with you, the larger one of course.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you actually get out from that zone to actually know what is happening in real?
How do you get out of it when you're meditating? How do you get out of your thinking mind when you're sitting there meditating?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I meditate, there are lots of thinking that comes. At first, it used to come actually. Right now, when I meditate, it's just quite blank. I feel as if the my whole body is flowing and all like that. My mind is flowing actually. More like that. The thoughts. Whenever I used to get the thoughts, I used to say that okay, just let it go and breathe and the breathing process.
There you
Just
go.
focus on the breathing.
It's the same when you're in the dream state.
So you need to actually
Focus.
switch on your like the subconscious, which is inside, which is working.
You switch on your attention, your point of focus. You focus. You remember what it is you're sitting there or laying there doing or wanting to do. So if I sit down and I'm meditating and my mind is busy, do I just let it go on being busy, paying attention to that? No. I'm going to center my point of attention right between my brow on purpose. I'm going to do something. And I'm going to do that on purpose. I'm going to do that on purpose for a reason, because I want to get into the meditative state. Same thing when you're dreaming. You'll do the same thing, except for you'll do it to get out beyond one level of the dream, your thinking portion of it. out into a larger sphere.
But most of the people actually doesn't really um, get out from there, like the thought, the dreams that they say most of the people doesn't really have that, what should I say, the intention, or that they can get out from that zone, or many people doesn't remember. Why does it happen actually?
Yeah, most people are very happy in that level of the dream. But if you're in that level of the dream and you're realizing that there's another level of the dream and you're curious about what that is, then you'll start taking some action to get out into that.
Okay. So
And
basically we have to wake up in that dream too.
there's various ways you could approach this: by meditating just before bed, by being clear in your intent in that meditation just prior to laying yourself down, for going out beyond that chattering level of the dream, where you are just confronting other what you're confronting in physical space. You're not confronting anything more than that. So you have that intent going in, and you put your attention where you need it to be. You know, put the attention here. Pay attention to the fact that you're dreaming. Command your body, command the systems of the body, command the body system cells to come into alignment with your current attention. I like to work with attention more than intention, but you can work with both.
Okay.
So,
Whenever I'm lucid dreaming, I just
attention is always on self. I'll just finish that sentence. Attention is always on self, not your person, on self. And there's a very big difference. You begin to touch that when you begin to get into the meditative state. And the more you touch it in your conscious life, the more that you'll begin to touch it when you go into the night. Your day life will trickle over into your nightlife. And the more you achieve that wider state that you're going after in your nightlife, the more that will trickle over into your day, where you find yourself being aware of, seeing, understanding a lot more in your day life than you were before. And so each affects the other, and it becomes, you know, a circle where your nightlife is wholly affecting and your day life, and your day life is wholly affecting your nightlife. Okay, so if in your day life, for instance, you're completely absorbed in drama and you're letting your emotionals go all over the place, you know, getting angry about this and frustrated about that and depressed about here, you know, that's just going to follow you into your night. So you have to be able to put that down on purpose during your day, and just so like various times throughout the day, you can just do something simple like pay attention to the fact that you're breathing. Okay, I'm just thinking all over the place and this is starting to hurt. I'm gonna on purpose put that down and pay attention to the fact that I'm breathing. And you're just gonna take a deep, full, conscious breath. Every time you do something like that, that follows you into your nightlife. Okay, so
that's actually interesting to even work on actually.
yes.
We mostly do like act when you told me about this, when you told me that the day life and the night life actually, you know, interjects each other, like, or the that is what we do actually. The whatever happens in the day, quite a similar vision people see in their day, a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, but it projects in a different way, but the emotions are actually similar.
Mm-hmm. You're just bringing the residue from your day into your night. Yeah. And if you don't want to bring that residue with you, I mean, if you do, a lot of people do, they're working on that. And so they take it into their nighttime and they work on it some more. But if you've worked on it to the point where you've got it all worked out, and for goodness sakes, there's got to be something more now. If that's getting so boring, you're not even bringing that data back with you, meaning remembering your dreams when you wake up in the morning. And that's sort of a sign of that. You know, nothing much exciting to hold on to there. Same old, endlessly. Yeah, do something different. The whole idea, you know, if you don't like what's happening, do something different. Write that down. Write that down. If you don't like what's happening, do something different. Write it down.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And then remember periodically through the day to just stop and pay attention to the fact that you're breathing, sorry. The fact that too, but breathing. Pay attention to the fact that you're breathing. Do that on purpose. This would
actually help too. Like during the situations when we are actually frustrated or depressed, we can actually think about that, okay, think about something else and breathe. Just be grateful that you are breathing.
What we want to do is not take our attention off of something that needs our attention, but to put our attention on the fundamentals that need our attention, so that the little details in all of that don't overwhelm us. So if you can just be aware of the fact that you're aware, this would be even more subtle than the fact that you're breathing. You'll see how nice that feels. I mean, it feels like all of a sudden 1,000 pounds just lifted off of you, and yet nothing's changed, just your point of focus. So you put your point of focus on attention itself, awareness itself. And in that awareness, the first thing that you'll be aware of, aside from awareness, is the fact that you're breathing, that you're alive, that you're an alive thing. And it will feel good. It will feel very good. Now, if you put inside that, oh, this happened today and I need to figure out why this thing keeps happening. I don't want this thing to keep happening anymore. Or I need to figure out how to change my work because what I'm doing for work is hurting me now, or just whatever the challenges or difficulties or confrontations are that you're coming across in your life. If you put them inside your awareness, inside your energy field, then they don't overwhelm you because they're so tiny in comparison. You will experience yourself as much larger than them, and of course, able to work your way through this. And even ingeniously, navigating certain curiosities even at them. You won't even have the same, I'm going to say, negative experience of them that gets created when you make them the main thing, and you're not even there anymore. There's not, you don't even have awareness in that. There's not even any energy that is remotely similar to the energy of who you are anymore. There's just pain and frustration. And if you make that the main thing, if you make that the big thing, if that has the whole of your attention, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. We're going to keep hurting ourselves in that energy, meaning we're going to let patterns continue to repeat and repeat and repeat. And so to get out of it, it's so simple. Just stop for a minute. Stop for a minute. Awareness on awareness. Oh, yeah. Everything's okay again. Everything's okay again. And oh, here it comes. There's the breath. Yep, I can feel myself now. Now I can feel myself Now, all of those other things are still playing out, but now I can feel myself. I'm back in the equation. So if you put yourself back in the equation, let yourself be the big thing, awareness and energy, and the little details, of what you're confronting in the field, be smaller pinpoints within that. They're very manageable, no matter how many of them there happen to be, or how long a certain pinpoint has managed to perpetuate itself. They're still seen as little pinpoints. And because the awareness is much larger, because the energy is much larger, everything is there that's needed to work through that little pinpoint. And there's awareness of that. And now it's almost sort of funny that you are getting angry and frustrated before you begin to see the humor. And you're like, oh, okay, that's what happens when I flip myself the wrong way around. So now I just need to flip myself back the right way around. Consciousness, awareness, energy. And inside that, again, what we are confronting in the field.
Okay, so why do people actually zone out? Like, whatever, however that happens, I zone out most of the time during my day, like without any reason. I'm just, maybe I gaze most of the time and just my mother is calling, but I can't hear. Why does it happen that you zone out? And where do you go actually? The visual that we see is the same thing. I'm watching a wall and I'm gazing it, but my mind is kind of
somewhere else.
Somewhere else. Why do we zone out like that?
Because we can. Thank goodness. Thank goodness, because we can. And that should serve as a reminder. It should, and it does, if we acknowledge the fact, serve as a reminder that we are not confined here, that there is a somewhere else, and that I go there often. But you don't have to separate the fields. You don't have to be here or there. You can be here and there. And the way that you do that is by what? Stopping for a moment. Awareness on awareness. In the awareness, there's this energy. It's alive. Feel that. And much more fits in that, you see. That's concentric. So you can be here washing the dishes in absolute full focus. And when you do that in full focus, it actually feels really good to do the dishes, or anything for that matter. But you'll also be aware of other things going on simultaneously. But because awareness is an awareness, and a lot more fits in that, you can hold the data coming in from the multiple fields all at the same time, right there where you are. So you no longer have to be here or there, which is how you're doing it now. You can be here and there. And this is, again, how you do it. Practicing it as you do, meditating, practicing meditation every day, twice a day is excellent. We'll get you there.
It's actually interesting, a really interesting subject to actually ponder upon, because we don't really go into that zone most of the time in this, like where I am living. Meditation is certainly a way through which you just relax your mind, but the whole part of being conscious and the higher conscious and the whole, like, there are different realities, and that those things are actually not really very popular here. Like, very little. From where I actually came to this is, I got a book 2 years back that had a woman actually wrote to his son through automatic writing. For both the sons died, and then from that I actually kind of got the impression that there are 7 realms like that, and they used to talk through that automatic writing, and from that actually I kind of had that impression that okay, there is something beyond physical reality. Before that I used to think that okay, spirits are ghosts. Whatever I was watching with the spirits were ghosts and everything, like the evil ones actually, the evil ones or the gods. So didn't have the idea that they were angels or guide, um, sort of like that, the guidances which we get. Actually, I used to think that I talk with myself most of the time. I used to talk with myself, and the things that actually came out from within were contradicting whatever I was asking. For example, if I used to ask that, okay, this isn't going right, what should I do? And very promptly from within the what actually someone used to talk, and I used to think okay, maybe that was my what do you say that okay, I am only talking with myself like that, like I talk with myself. And for this many people used to tell me that why do you talk with yourself? But that happens actually, that whenever we feel confused or anything, we talk with ourselves, but we aren't actually talking with ourselves. That is the higher self, or the guidance we get from the conscious to us, that we can, so that we can work out from that.
Yes, it's our self.
Of course that is
The higher self is our
higher.
self in a higher field. Yes. Uh-huh. But it actually is a being in another body. Yeah. But it's our self, meaning it's the same soul, different bodies, different fields. Yes.
So what happens, like the actually the spirits that we see, like many people see, and you see through the crystals, right? So what happens that why do they can travel through different realms, like they are in some other field but they can travel through that, but why don't they talk?
There's no travel necessary. So 3D, for instance, just because that's what we're familiar with, contains within it 2D and 1D. Yes? 2D is the animal kingdom, and as humans, we can see all of the other animals. They're right here. Right here is really big, by the way. It's not localized, but it's right here where we can see them and have access to them, right? We didn't have to travel anywhere. They're right here. That's because 2D is available for 3D to see and have access to, and so is 1D. So when we go into the plant and mineral kingdoms, those are also right here. We didn't have to travel anywhere. They just exist already within our field. Okay. And so in the same way, 4D has access to 3, 2, and 1. So we humans here in the earth life are part of their experience. They can see us, we can't see them. They're on a frequency beyond our narrow bandwidth. But when we go out into 4D, we will notice that we now have access to all of the other 4D characters. And we also have access to the earth humans. They'll still be a part of the experience. They'll still be there. It's in a different fashion, or can be in a different fashion, but they're still there. They don't have to travel anywhere to get to us. So, and especially those that we're connected with, via the soul, via our own soul networking, they know of us. They're very aware of us. And it's just like, or similar to you being aware of your mom and dad and your other family members, and you would reach out to them for the same reason that they would reach out to us. We're family. So you see some families struggling, and you, of course, offered to help. It's almost instantaneous. And I know that, the way that we help one another isn't always seen as help, but it always can be seen as help. And that is the way that we should maybe focus our awareness, so that we can have the best possible experience of something. This doesn't hide anything from us. It just allows us to see that we're sovereign. We're always in command of our own experience. We are always creating our own experience. And with energies that are, I'm going to say, are above the bar is neutral. Above the bar, we have happiness, joy, gratitude, compassion, love. Below the bar, we have depression, frustration, anger, rage. Okay, so all of that's going to be below the bar. When we keep our energy field above the bar, either neutral or above the bar, these are creative, these are highly creative energies. And you create with those energies experiences that are more pleasant, even though the details that those experiences contain may not always be thought of as something so pleasant. Your experience of it will be a learning one in which you are seeing something in yourself that is in need of correction, and things like that. And so you make those adjustments, those alterations, so that, those details don't present in your field anymore. And you have nothing but gratitude for that, to the ones who came to highlight it for you, and all of that. So that can get very deep, and we won't go off too much in that direction, but it's all involved. It's all involved, because as soon as you start going out of body, that's what you're going to confront, your own field. And that will start off in your own personal field, but it will expand out to be your soul field, your entire template. Thousands of beings in that template. Yeah.
So my next question would be that while we are in out of the body experience, at that time, the time that when you can see that, okay, you are lying down, can you actually see the other, for example, the beings that are flowing in our around? Can you actually notice that?
Yes, I can see them. I don't have to go anywhere to see that. So one of the first things that began happening for me, I am a seer like you. And so, and I like to, you'll learn to identify certain things within yourself. And one of the things that I identified within myself was that I like to see things in advance. I like to be on top of the game. I'm always early, and I'm never late. I have a thing with being late. So, so I was born to a dad who was late for everything, and that helped me see within myself that, I have an imperative. Don't be late. Always show up, so you'll begin to see things like that too. So anyway, in that regard, my sight turned on, and that turned on before I even was cognizing the fact that I was going out of body. The cognizing of the fact that I was going out of body happened with what I termed my awakening or my activation, and that was in 2009. But much before that, I could see things. I'm one of those people who see patterns, and you know what the people in the 3D field like to call people who see patterns. And that would be insane, right? But yeah, I see patterns and it's like it's mathematics in my mind, and it's like chess moves. So like in healthcare, when I had a client, I could see a year or two down the road, like if we kept doing this and this and this, I could see we weren't going to make it too much longer down the road. And I could start making maneuvers to remove or minimize those things that made our road quite short, especially if I knew the person wasn't ready to go yet, And so there's many ways that you can use a skill like this. That's one very practical, very appreciated skill. The crystals is one that's not so appreciated, yet by too many people. So when your skill is a little bit, anything other than a grounded earth life thing, people can get afraid of that. But there's many ways to use the patterns that you see. And so like I can It's funny because I was born this way, and it took me a long time to realize it was different from what was happening with other people. But I don't see things first, I see things last. So I came in with the expanded awareness, and that expanded awareness showed itself in my visual acuity, my visual field. And so I see the void. I see the after the void. I can see the tiny um, adamantine particles, the tiny light particles that are composing what we call things. But I don't see the things next. I see the energy, the movement of those particles next. And so the things are the last thing I see. If I have to focus on a thing, oh, yeah, it's really hard for me. I can get headaches, I can get dizzy, I feel claustrophobic, I may feel absolutely nauseous because it makes me feel trapped. So like I don't like coming down fully into physical space, and I have very rarely ever done it. I think my soul template maybe very rarely does it. Yeah, they come
So,
in an awakened state, or they come in a higher dimensional or frequency field, and not so much in the 3D. Yeah, or even if in 3D they come in like I did. Yeah.
so it was an inborn talent, right?
It was a what?
Inborn talent, like it was a natural talent you got. Like, did your mom also, like, we say that it comes from generation to generation? Did your mom or dad had the same thing?
Mm.
Because whatever I actually was gifted with, my mom had the same thing.
The way that I came in, I would say, is how everyone comes in. All newborns are not localized, not in localized space yet. And what happened is I just simply never did come into localized space. Most children will, by the age of 7, be fully localized. Before that, their dream state is very real, if not more real than physical space. They're having very active experience and interaction and other frequency fields, including the physical field when they wake up in the morning, and even at the same time. That showed itself in my life in that I could never quite wake up in the morning. Like my eyes would still be rolled into the back of my head. I could walk my dreams, as I would get up to go to the bathroom, I was still in the dream that I was in. I could carry it and walk it with me for as long as I wanted to. I would usually get into the bathtub at that point. It was a very common thing for me to walk my dream into the bathroom, turn on the bath water, walk back to my bed carrying the dream, wait till the bathtub was full, because the bathtubs were much larger back then. It took a while for them to get full. 10 minutes later, walk back to the bathtub and get into it and float there. I think that I was trying to connect with the point from which I feel I am projecting myself here from, which is a body in stasis. I think, it's a body in 5 or 6D, and it is in a stasis chamber, a stasis pod. And I can feel that. And I think that was my way of connecting with it. Yeah, in my conscious awareness and conscious space, which is heavenly, just absolutely heavenly. But there's much stronger flow of information and energy. Yeah, and although that I wasn't able to hold on to things as strongly as I was able to pre-age 7, I still did. It's as though I refused to come all the way into physical space. I would not let that go. So I don't know if I was supposed to not let it go, if that's a part of my design, or if that's a part of my will, or a combination of both. But there's that. Do you feel anything similar?
Well, I don't really have the memory of my childhood, whatever happened. Like, it's as if that a part of my age is just not there. I don't know what happened, or I don't know, it's just vanished. I don't remember what happened 10 years back, because there are just certain visuals which I get was all that, because the traumatic visuals are only there which I remember. Very little. There are very little memories that I have, and without like all those memories only. But I don't know how I was in my childhood, or what happened in my childhood. I don't know. Something just vanished away. And when I was at the age of 12, that was when the first experience occurred during the spirit one, when I actually felt the spirits. So I was actually shocked, because you know those things are not really accepted by everyone, that what happens with you. And when I talked about it, that okay, I could it felt as if that I could see something, a shadow just went away, or it touched me like that. But my mother said that she also used to see things, and she didn't actually, you know um, worked it out, so it just went away with age. But what happened with me was that those spirits were all around me, and I could actually feel them. When I talked with them, I talked with my parents about it. They actually didn't trusted me that it happened. They say that, oh, you are actually hallucinating. Till now, I could say that when I talk about it, that this is happening, they're saying, no, no, you are hallucinating the spirits. It's just an illusion. You can't see anything. You need a help. You need help. Till now, my answer is that you need help. I said, no, that is not any problem that I have. This, we watch like I used to watch a cartoon that says the Doraemon one. So it had the real story of being Nobita was he was schizophrenic, and now my paternal family says you are actually schizophrenic. You can't see anything. You talk to things, but that actually doesn't happen. So
Mhm.
after that age, when I saw the thing, when I used to see the things, I remember few yogis came in my home, and they did a, the what should I say, the satsang sort of thing, but actually yogya, we say, no, the yogya, the fire with the fire and all, to purify the house. So they came and they purified the house, and that uh, he said that there are some things in your house, or no, I remember a person actually died in that house. That's why the spirit is roaming around. But I felt that no, it was not something like that. Everybody believed that okay, there must be a spirit. And then I went to another house. Like I changed my house after coming from my dad's home 7 times, and in every house I could see the spirits. And that's the reason people used to say that you walk with spirits, spirits walk with you, it is connected with you. And that's really a negative point of view that people get of me. So it's actually not always negative. I could feel the good ones too. Like it's an energy, basically.
There's spirit. See, here's another thing, just like we talked about before, learning how to use the terms reality and dream to mean the same thing equally, putting them on a level playing field. We want to do the same thing with mm, all opposites, but another important one is good, bad. So instead of good, bad, or positive, negative, there are spirits who are drawn to you because you can actually help them. So there are spirits who need your help, and then there are spirits who are there but don't necessarily need your help. we tend
Yeah,
to
that actually happens.
we tend to think of those spirits who need our help as negative. They're not negative. They just need our help. They're looking for somebody to help them. Yeah. So it's just like shift things in your awareness in this way, and then you're more able to embody the new awareness. And because you're embodying the new awareness more, you're able to express it more successfully to other people in a way that gets them to accept the new way of looking at it. Yeah.
Even now, while I am sitting, the door is just going like this and this. Like I could see that someone is watching from there. Like something is there which is watching. And even every time when I was sitting with you, my a part of my hand or a part of my leg used to just had goosebumps, and I knew that okay, something was there. Like something was connected to me. And this happens, at first I used to get so scared that okay, why am I even seeing things? Like why would I? And I used to feel that okay, maybe there is some problem in me.
Mhm.
That's why I am seeing things. And
Not
then I
problem, not problem, not problem. Let's correct that. What is there in you?
yeah,
Let's
there
correct
is no
that.
problem. It's reality.
But what is it? It's not a problem, but what is it?
What is?
It's maybe a gift.
Yeah, it's actually a gift.
Now, sometimes we
I
can see
feel
our
it's
gifts
a
as
gift right
problems,
now.
but
It's a gift.
but let's correct when we have the connotation that's not as ideal as it could be. Let's correct it. Because that corrects our thinking, and correcting our thinking corrects the way that we experience something, or at least it gives us a new possible way of experiencing it. And now we
Yeah.
have more Crayolas in our Crayola deck, right? The more Crayolas we have in our Crayola deck, the more we can color with those, right? And in the more ways, we can play with them in unique ways. Yeah. And so that
So
helps
what
us and others.
So another question was, I read people in the groups, actually in the Facebook groups, there are certain people post their pictures and they say, "Can you see the color of my aura?" What is actually that? How could people like? What happens in that? How do you see? Is it even visible? Like, can people see the color of the aura?
Some people can, sure. If you have
A gift.
you have a want to, like some people want to see that, and because they want to see it, they do see it. If they happen to have turned on their sight, I don't see that. If I'm gonna do a gaze at you, I'm gonna see a few things. I'm gonna see. I call it a white light aura. So this is an aura around you that's just white, and it doesn't go off very far, or sometimes it does. But most times it doesn't extend very far off of people. And if I just sort of gaze at you with my attention on that, within it, I'll begin to see a certain fluorescent areas where it's just a sort of a white fluorescence that comes up out of that. And that might skirt one side of your face. It may come over here and skirt another area of you, but it'll make a pattern. So now if I put my attention on that sort of pattern of fluorescence that's showing up, you'll go transparent. Now, at the point that you go transparent, I begin to see, I can see your energy signature there. It's like a warbly space. It's like water that's rippling in the air. And if I put my attention on that, we can meet. And if the person's open and willing, and it's usually a deeper layer of your being that's inviting me in. But in the midst of all of that, I'm going out on an OBE, but I'm also at the same time, remember, you can be here and there, and I am often. I will still be here, and various different things will happen. Your physical form will come back. Now I'm going to be getting facial features. So like your beings will start coming through your facial area, and I will see their faces. and their energies, and they will connect with me and I'll be able to get some information. I've never taken this incredibly far. It was one of the very first things that started happening again before the conscious OBEs started happening. Yeah, the vision was on. I could.
You were more focused in the OB than this. You were more focused in the OB, right? More interested in what happened.
I had no idea at that point what an OBE was. No, I was Atmavachar. I was the student of Sri Ramana Maharshi, and I was seeking the self. And I meditated, but it was more self-inquiry. Attention was on attention. Awareness was on awareness. There wasn't an object or a point of focus like there is generally in meditation. And that was my focus. And I was a student of that for a long period of time, and a glorious, happy, joyful student of that. It's all I wanted to do. So when I go into practices, I tend to go into practices hard and deep. Like, that's life. There's not, buying a house and getting married and having kids. There, none of that. That was never meant to be a part of my life. That's not life to me. This is life to me. And so this is who I was designed to be here. We're all designed to be here, who we are, for a purpose, and seeking not just the self, but that purpose, became my life's purpose. Yeah. So
I remember
all of that was first. I just simply a lot. And I could go into 3-hour states of meditation so easily. Yeah. And I'm somebody who chose Shavasana. So I practice Shavasana as a life practice. And that probably came from Sri Ramana Maharshi, who had his awakening as a child in that way. He went into dead man's pose. Yeah, he went into that's how it happened. Yeah, so maybe that was transferred. I don't know, but
I don't know. I would say that I don't know if it's a problem or not. Like, something happens during where while I'm lying down, and then I'm intending, like, while meditating, or you could say that Shavasana, while I do that, my body kind of, shivers a lot. And it's, I don't know, a weird feeling that it just tingles a lot. And it's very hard to, just be in that zone and this zone too. Like, while I am meditating, I could feel my hands and my legs are kind of as if it's something is being, what should I say? It's tingling.
mm-hmm.
So why does it happen like that? Like, why does the body, like, I'm lying down, I sleep, I lie down every time. But why does only when I meditate in that state, why does it happen in that time?
Well, you're staying aware. Yes. When you go to bed at night, you're generally letting go of your conscious awareness and falling asleep. And so when you're in the sleep state, you're not going to be aware of it. While when you're sitting in meditation, you're endeavoring to remain aware. And so you're aware of that, and much more if you want to be.
A point of why, like, I would share with you something. I would share with you two things, actually. The near-death experiences I had, actually.
Let's save the near-death experience for the next Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because we're at the hour and I don't want to overwhelm you, and I want to leave you with the practices. Okay.
I would try the meditation and then I would go to sleep. Let's see what happens.
Awareness on awareness. That's
attention.
Use dream. Learn to use the terms wake and dream synonymously until your patterns shift and that actually makes sense to you. Okay, and that will happen. Every now and again, as often as you can remember throughout the day, just pause and remember the fact that you're breathing, and just take a full deep conscious breath and then go on with what you're doing. Do that as often throughout the day as you can. A really interesting practice, and this is usually the first one I give to people, is to remember that you're breathing every time you walk through a doorway. Now there's a very powerful opportunity that's there, right? Because doorways are portals. Doorways are the threshold between one space and another space. So when you take that opportunity right there to be aware, a very interesting thing can begin happening. Okay. And the last practice is, and I hope you're writing these down, unless you have a great awareness, write these things down. We're going to, yeah, good. Because I'm going to make you repeat them back to me in our mentoring thread. Okay. The last practice is to begin the practice of wake back to bed. So you want to bring your dream awareness with you into your day awareness every day. That means remembering something that happened in your dream state every day and writing it down. Okay, so before you get up out of the bed, bring back some recall and write down what that is, and join us in the dream log on our board and start logging your daily dreams there. It can be just a flash. It can be a simple concept. It was a bird. I just remember the last thing I saw was a bird. It can be something that simple, or it could be more, but do it every day. The big thing that we want to bring back is those points at which we came alert, awake inside of there. That does happen every night, and we want to get back to physical space with some of those experiences intact. And so the practice that we want to begin is called wake back to bed. So this is when you're going to wake perhaps an hour before you normally would. Or in your case, I would suggest sleeping an hour more than you normally would, because you're not getting many hours in. So you choose what's more right for you. But you're going to get up, and you're not going to do anything major. You might just sit up in the bed and meditate for a few minutes. You might, in that meditative space, between wake and dream, walk over and brush your teeth. Nothing more than brushing the teeth. Maybe use the bathroom, maybe sit and do some pranayama. It can be somewhere between, I'm going to say 15 and 20 minutes for you. Not more and not less, somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes. I'm basing this on the few hours of sleep that you actually do get each night. So 15 to 20 minutes. I don't wake all the way up. You want to stay in that place between, in that sort of sleepy, dreamy place between wake and dream. Okay, 15 to 20 minutes. Now you're going to lay yourself back down and consciously go in.
Okay.
Don't lose the conscious awareness. And take notice what happens. Because when you come back from this experience, you absolutely are going to write down everything that you noticed. Everything that you noticed. Okay, and that you're going to put in our mentoring thread. Okay, so what that mentoring thread is a place for you to begin logging. Use it as a journal, as a log. And you're going to log your daily experiences, things you had difficulty with, didn't remember to breathe but once today. Things like that. Track your progress, your daily progress. Do it every day. Let it be a daily ritual. And then if you have any questions for me, I'll also answer those. But it won't be a place for chit chat. That's your schoolroom, that thread. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to take out our chit chats all the way back to where we started, and you'll use that thread now from this point is your classroom. That's where you're going to write notes to yourself, anything that you want to work on, any observations you've made, any OBEs you actually got into. All of that goes there. Okay. So I'm going to let you work on that for the next week or more. And then let me know when you need to Zoom again to sort of bring some energy back into it.
Okay.
Okay. Sound
Thank
good?
you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
It's a new journey, actually. Of a new journey. I'm excited.
Get clear on your intent, like why it is you actually want to begin having these experiences, and how you feel you might integrate them into physical space as a way to help the 3D physical field and the people here. So that's a really good thing to get clear on, and that's something that will draw your experiences in much more closely to you than they are now. Okay. All right. I'll see you on the board.
Bye bye. Have a good day.
Oh, you too, Swara.